Okay, so next topic is pumps. Okay, not many questions are asked in GATE exam from this particular topic of pumps, so we will not deal in much detail. Okay, but still I will tell you some important terminologies and how can the numericals be solved from this particular topic of pump. Pump, as I told you, is a device which convert mechanical energy to hydraulic energy, to the mechanical power to water power. That device is nothing but pumps. Okay, and this pump, if we want to classify, this pump can be either a dynamic pressure pump or it can be a positive pressure pump, depending upon that whether the pressure difference between inlet and outlet is constant or it is a variable pressure difference. Depending upon that, we use dynamic pressure pump or positive pressure pump. Suppose if the pressure difference between inlet and outlet is fixed, then we use this positive pressure pump like reciprocating pump or rotary pump. Okay, but despite the pressure difference, if we want to maintain a constant head, then such pumps are used, which are called as the dynamic pressure pumps. Okay, now this dynamic pressure pumps can be further classified into centrifugal pump, turbine pump, propeller and jet. And positive pressure pump, as I told you, can be classified into reciprocating and rotary pump. Then further, this reciprocating pump can be classified into piston, plunger and diaphragm type. And rotary pump types are gear, lobe, vane, screw and rotary plunger. Okay, so these are all different types of pumps. Depending upon the various applications, we use this pump. Depending upon the application which we require, we use these pumps. Okay, next coming to the classification of the pump. Okay, now out of all these pumps, very important thing, out of all these pumps, we just have to study this pump, the centrifugal pump only. We will deal with the centrifugal pump only, because generally the questions are asked from this pump only. And this is actually a very simple pump. This is just the reverse of the Francis turbine we have already studied. Okay, so that just the reverse of the Francis turbine is nothing but the centrifugal pump. Okay, now coming to the classification, main classifications are first on the basis of head. First is low head turbine, in which the range of head is up to 15 meter. Okay, if the head is 15 meter or less, then we use low head pump. Next is the medium head pump, range lies between 15 to 40 meter, and third is high head pump, having range above 40 meter. Okay, next coming to the other classification, which is on the basis of a specific speed. So on the basis of this specific speed, first is the radial flow pump, the specific speed lies between 10 to 80. Second is the mixed flow pump, specific speed lies between 80 to 160, and third is axial flow, 160 to 450. Okay, no need to define all these, you are very much familiar with all these terms. Radial flow means water enters and exit radially. Mixed flow means enters radially and enters axially and leaves radially. And axial flow turbine means it enters axially and leaves axially. Okay, so now coming to the very first kind of pump which we are going to study is the centrifugal pump, which is most important from this GATE point of view, because the questions are asked from this pump only. Obviously not much questions, but still whatever questions are asked, those are asked from this centrifugal pump only. And this centrifugal pump, as I told you, is just the reverse of Francis turbine. In Francis turbine was the invert radial flow turbine. That means water was entering from outside and enters inside. And in this pump, water will enter from inside and will exit from outside. Okay, these are the impeller blades. If you remember the Francis turbine, these are the impeller blades. But the only difference is that here we are providing mechanical power as input, and this pump will give water power as output. There we were having the water power as input and we were having the mechanical power as output. Here it will be opposite. Okay, and this centrifugal pump, to be very specific, is just the opposite of Francis turbine, in the sense, in Francis turbine the exit was axial and inlet was radial. In this centrifugal pump, inlet is axial and exit is radial, as you can see here. Okay, inlet V1, this is the inlet velocity triangle, inlet is axial, so obviously this VW1 will be equal to 0, and exit is radial. Okay, so in this particular figure you can see the exit of this pump is in radial direction. Okay, so this is the centrifugal pump. Okay, and work done per second or power required by this pump, as we know, work done per second is equal to VW1 U1 plus minus of VW2 U2. Okay, if you remember this, into M. Okay, so in this case, because this VW1 is 0, in Francis turbine VW2 was 0, here VW1 is 0, so this work done per second or power will be equal to m into VW2 U2. Okay, this is work done per second or power required by this pump. Okay, only this thing you have to remember, m into VW2 U2. Getting this or not? Okay, now, so this is the arrangement of this centrifugal pump. You can see from here, this is the water level from where the water has to be sucked. This HS is the static head of suction, HD is the static head of delivery. That means total static head will be equal to HS plus SD. Total static head is equal to HS plus SD. Okay, now why we are calling this as a static head? Because this is not the only head against which the pump has to produce work. Now apart from this, there would be certain losses. Let's suppose the inlet losses, the losses during suction are HFS and the losses during delivery are HFD. Okay, so the total head would be obviously different from this static head, would be obviously more than that of this static head. That means total head, or you can call it as manometric head. Manometric head means the total head against which the pump has to perform work. Okay, so the total manometric head, this is nothing but total head including losses due to friction, okay. So what will be this total manometric head? So this will be equal to HS plus HD. Now apart from this, there are friction losses, HFS plus HFD. Okay, now apart from this, there will be some delivery velocity. So the velocity head at delivery, Vd square by 2g. Okay, so this is nothing but total manometric head against which the pump has to perform work. Okay, third thing, as we know, is a speed ratio. Ku here will be equal to U2 by root 2 GH. Okay, and the value generally lies between 0.95 to 1.25. Next is flow ratio. Kf is equal to Vf2 by root 2 GH. Okay, and the value lies between 0.1 to 0.25. Okay, so these are important terminologies of this pump. The functioning is very simple. As I told you, this pump works opposite to that of the Francis turbine, that of the turbine. Okay, the impeller rotates, and because of that we are providing, okay, and functioning, as I told you, is very simple of this pumps. We are just providing mechanical work to this shaft, okay, and because of that the impeller is rotating, and that impeller is sucking the liquid from the reservoir, and it is delivering it to the delivery tank, which may be at higher level or which may be at a certain distance. And these pumps are widely used, and there are numerous applications of such pumps. These are used in agricultural works, these are used in municipal works, in drainage works. Then you use these pumps in the household for delivering the water from low head to high head. Then it is used in the industries to transfer the condensate, the condensing water. Then to transfer the raw material from one place to other, also such pumps are used. So there are huge number of applications for such pumps. Okay, now coming to the efficiency, different efficiencies of this pump. Okay, so just remember that the turbine part, and this part is just reverse of the turbine part. You don't have to remember anything extra in this. I will tell you how. Okay, so for this part, initially we are supplying the power to the shaft. Okay, so initially we are having shaft power, and that shaft is providing power to the impeller. Then we are having impeller power. Okay, and in between there will be certain losses, and those losses are called mechanical losses. Okay, and then this impeller power will be then converted to water power. Okay, and there are certain losses which are termed as hydraulic losses. Getting this now? Okay, so first there will be the manometric efficiency. Okay, manometric efficiency, which is nothing but water power by impeller power. Here we will be having the manometric efficiency. That means the output of the impeller, which is nothing but water power, and the input is nothing but impeller power. So manometric efficiency is nothing but the ratio of water power to impeller power. Okay, water power is nothing but rho g QH, impeller power is nothing but M into VW2 into U2, as I told you, and this M is nothing but rho into G. So this rho into Q, so this will be equal to G into H divided by VW2 into U2, and this H is nothing but total head, or you can call it as manometric head. Getting this? Okay, then there will be mechanical efficiency, which is equal to the output of mechanical, which is impeller power. Output is impeller and input is the shaft power. So mechanical efficiency is the ratio of impeller power to shaft power. That's it. Okay, third is the volumetric efficiency. Okay, there are certain laws of the volume of water. So the ratio of this total discharge to Q plus del Q, where del Q is total loss and discharge. Okay, so this is volumetric efficiency. So overall efficiency will be equal to manometric efficiency into mechanical efficiency into volumetric efficiency. That's it. Okay, so these are different efficiencies of the pump. Next is the specific speed of the pump. Next, coming to the specific speed of pump. Okay, as I told you, we will not get into much details for this pump because we have already understood the turbine in details, and this is just the reverse of turbine, as I have already told you. Okay, so the specific speed Ns is equal to N root Q upon H raised power 3 by 4. You have to remember this term, specific speed of pump, N root Q upon H raised power 3 by 4. That means the speed of geometrical similar pump which is discharging which is having unit discharge under unit head. Okay, which is having unit discharge 1 meter cube under unit head of 1 meter. This is nothing but a specific speed. Okay, next coming to the pumps in series and parallel. Okay, first the pumps in series. Pumps in series means the output from one pump is taken as input to other pump, like this. Okay, so these are pumps in series. Okay, so obviously what we are doing here is the discharge in this all these pumps will be same. That means total Q will be equal to Q1, will be equal to Q2, will be equal to Q3, and so on. Discharge will be same, but at the same time, because we are installing these pumps in series, that means the output from one pump will be the input to the other pump. That means the total head we are increasing. Okay, so the basic purpose of installing the pumps in series is to increase the total head. So because we cannot increase the we cannot have the much difference in head in single turbine, so we are using multiple turbine, we are connecting it into series, and so the total head H will be equal to H1 plus H2 plus H3 and so on. Getting this one? Okay, second is the pumps in parallel. Okay, so in pumps in parallel we are having the arrangement like this. Okay, it means the discharge from here is suppose Q1, discharge from here is suppose Q2, and total discharge here is suppose Q. So obviously this discharge total will be equal to Q1 plus Q2, first thing. But at the same time, head will be same, head will not increase in this. If we are installing the pumps in parallel, head will be same, but discharge will be increased. That means total H will be equal to H1 will be equal to H2 and so on. Getting this? Okay, next is the model laws in pumps. Model laws for model and prototype. Okay, so N root Q by H raised power 3 by 4 for model is equal to N root Q by H raised power 3 by 4 for prototype. First thing. Second law, root h by d into n for model, you just have to remember all these things, is equal to root h by d into n for prototype. Okay. Third, q by d cube n for model is equal to q by d cube n for prototype. And last, p by n cube d raised power 5 for model is equal to p by n cube d raised power 5 for prototype. Okay, so n root q by h raised power 3 by 4, second root h by dn, third q by d cube n, fourth p by n cube d raised power 5. Okay, so these are the model laws. Here d is the outer diameter of impeller, okay, h is manometric height, manometric head, p is total power in kilowatt, and q is total discharge in meter cube per second. Getting this now? Okay. Next is another important terminology for this pump, that is net positive suction head. Okay, now what is this net positive suction head? So students, we have already discussed about cavitation. When the pressure of a flowing water, suppose, is less than the vapor pressure, then the bubbles form there. When the pressure is less than the vapor pressure, the bubbles form. And when the pressure becomes equal to or greater than the vapor pressure, then those bubbles will burst, and further it will cause the pitting. The formation of bubbles is called cavitation, and when the bubbles burst, it is called as the pitting. Okay, and that damages the pipe. Okay, same cavitation can occur in the pump also, because the impeller speed is very high here. Okay, and because impeller speed is very high, the pressure here is very low, and there are huge chances that that pressure will be below the vapor pressure of water, and it will form cavitation, it will form bubbles. Okay, and when the pressure will be above the vapor pressure, then obviously those bubbles will burst, and it will harm the pipes or the impeller blades. Getting this or not? Okay, so in order to avoid cavitation, obviously the pressure here, a minimum pressure has to be maintained at the inlet of impeller. That minimum pressure which has to be maintained at the inlet of impeller so as to avoid cavitation is nothing but net positive suction head. The inlet pressure at the inlet pressure of impeller which has to be maintained, the minimum pressure which has to be maintained so as to avoid cavitation is nothing but net positive suction head. Okay, now how can we determine this net positive suction head? Very easy to determine. So simple. Here the pressure we have to maintain. I will draw the simple figure for you. Okay, so suppose this is our water level. From where the water is getting sucked, this is the pump and this is the delivery. Okay, and this is the static head which we denoted by HS. Getting this? Okay, now as I told you, the pressure which has to be maintained at the impeller, at the inlet of this impeller, the pressure here is nothing but net positive suction head. Okay, now how can we determine this net positive suction head? Here obviously this is the water, and the pressure here will be atmospheric pressure, P atmosphere. Okay, so what will be the net positive suction head here? So for this we will equate the pressure here. Okay, so at this level obviously the pressure here is atmospheric pressure, or you can call it as zero gauge pressure. In terms of gauge pressure, it will be zero gauge pressure. This will be equal to total pressure at this point, which is equal to first net positive suction head, which we want to determine, plus apart from this there is HS, which is static head. Apart from this there is HFS, which is frictional loss, as I have already told you. Now apart from this there is one more pressure, which is vapor pressure, which has to be overcome. Okay, and this NPSH is in meter, HS is in meter, and HFS is in meter, so this has to be in meter. Okay, so this minimum pressure head NPSH, which we are minimum positive suction head which we are talking of, is in terms of meter. Getting this now? Okay, so from here this NPSH will be equal to minus of HS plus HFS plus PV by rho g. Okay, now in terms of atmospheric pressure, here there will be atmospheric pressure, and this NPSH will be equal to P atmosphere minus HS plus HFS plus PV by rho g. Okay, so if we are considering the atmospheric pressure, this net positive suction head will be this, and if we are not considering this atmospheric pressure, it will be this. Getting this? So this is nothing but the net positive suction head. ओके इसको अगर मैं बहुत सिंपल टर्म्स में अगर समझाऊं कि यहाँ पर हमको कितना प्रेशर चाहिए, देखो इस चीज़ को समझ लो तो कोई भी क्वेश्चन सॉल्व कर लोगे. यहाँ कितना प्रेशर चाहिए, ओके सो यहाँ कितना प्रेशर चाहिए और कितना हेड चाहिए, आई शुड से कितना हेड चाहिए यहाँ पर. तो कितना हेड चाहिए, सबसे पहले तो ये स्टैटिक हेड को ओवरकम करना पड़ेगा बिकॉज द वाटर हैज़ टू क्लाइम दिस मच हाइट. तो सबसे पहले तो आ जाएगा स्टैटिक हेड. इसके अलावा फ्रिक्शनल लॉसेस विच इज़ HFS. ना अपार्ट फ्रॉम दिस सिर्फ इतना करने से नहीं होगा बिकॉज वी हैव टू मेक द प्रेशर हियर विच ग्रेटर देन द वेपर प्रेशर. सो प्लस PV बाय रो जी इन टर्म्स ऑफ हेड. गेटिंग दिस? यहाँ का प्रेशर वेपर प्रेशर से भी ज़्यादा होना चाहिए. सो टोटल नेट positive suction head which has to be provided here should be equal to HS plus HFS plus PV by rho g. Getting this now? Okay, now we will solve one question. Okay, so we have a horizontal shaft centrifugal pump which lifts water at 65 degrees centigrade. The suction nozzle is 1 meter below the pump center line. The pressure at this point equals 200 kilopascal gauge and velocity is 3 meter per second. Okay, below pump center line, that means the pressure at pump center line is 200 kilopascal and velocity is also given. The steam table shows saturation pressure at 65 degrees centigrade to 25 kilopascal and the specific volume of saturated liquid is 0.00102 meter cube per kg. Okay, the net positive suction for this pump, the net positive suction head NPSH in meter is. Getting this? Okay, तो क्या बताया मैंने, NPSH in meters we have to determine. So this will be equal to first the pressure which is available here. Okay, here we have to determine the pressure. So first it has to overcome this pressure P by rho g, plus apart from this there will be the vapor pressure which is PV by rho g. Okay, and apart from this there is a static head HS. Okay, so just put the value. This pressure is given as 200 kilopascal into 10⁻³ divided by rho g which is 9810. Okay, for this vapor pressure is at 65 degrees centigrade. Saturation pressure or vapor pressure is 25 kilopascal into 10⁻³ divided by rho of this vapor. Okay, how can we determine this rho of vapor? Okay, so for this the specific volume of saturated liquid is given. Okay, so we can determine Vs is given as how much, 1 by 0.00102. Okay, so this rho s will be equal to 1 by Vs. Okay, so from here this rho s will be equal to 980.39. Okay, you can calculate this, you will get this. Getting this? So this will be, the density is 980.39 into 9.81 plus the static head which is 1 meter. Okay, so and on calculation you will get what, 23.9 meter, which is approximately equal to 24 meters. Getting this now? Okay, so this is how you can solve this NPSH questions, type of questions. Okay, another type of question which is asked, this was asked in GATE 2004. The centrifugal pump is required to pump water to an open water tank situated 4 km away from the location of the pump through a pipe of diameter 0.2 meter having Darcy friction factor for 0.01. Okay, Darcy friction factor is obviously used to determine the losses. Whenever you want to determine the, as we have discussed, HFS, that is nothing but the frictional losses. और frictional losses कहाँ से मिलता है हमको? Darcy friction factor से. The average speed of the water in the pipe is 2 meter per second. If it is to maintain a constant head of 5 meter in the tank, neglecting other minor losses, the absolute discharge present at the pump exit is. Getting this now? Okay, so the very first thing, the total frictional losses, HFS, first we can determine this HFS. Okay, this is nothing but FLV square upon D into 2G. We have already discussed the formula in flow through pipes. Okay, so from here we can determine this. Darcy friction factor is given as 0.01 into length is 4 km, which is 4000 meter, into V square 2 square divided by D is 0.2 into 2G 2 into 9.81. So this HFS from here will be equal to 40.77 meter. Getting this? Okay, now how much head this pump should supply? So this pump has to maintain a constant head of 5 meter in the tank. Okay, so a constant head of 5 meter is to be maintained, first thing. Second thing, it has to overcome this much losses. Okay, so total head which is to be supplied is 5 meter plus this HF in terms of meter. Okay, so this total pressure P gauge should be equal to rho g h plus HF. Okay, so just put the value 9810 into H is 5 plus HFS is 40.77. Okay, so from here this will be equal to 449.003 kilopascal. Getting this now? Okay, so this much pressure is to be developed by the pump in order to discharge the water, in order to produce 5 meter of head with this losses. And the absolute pressure, this is obviously the gauge pressure, so absolute pressure will be equal to 101.325 plus gauge pressure, which is 449, so this will be equal to 550.325 kilopascal, or you can say 5.503 bar. Okay, so the answer should be B. Getting this now?